Yo, yo, yo. It's a Monday night Command HQ special presentation brought to you by Agent X, the Zapp attack. Uh, our boy Brock got the old band hammer from YouTube, so for the Command HQ stream. So we'll talk about that. But how you doing, Brock?
Hey, it's an intense week. It's been an intense day. I feel like something dangerous is on the horizon for this country. And I feel like the military-industrial complex is taking advantage of the new year to plan, additional measures against the American population, including, of course, as we found out through the Twitter files release, we just got a peek today from Elon Musk that the Biden administration had been eagerly working to suppress certain views, which we can't talk about without experiencing another banhammer. But I think that anybody listening can get the drift.
I don't know. So can you go into any more detail about it? Like even conjecture what you think is going on, what you think's happening?
I think there's some major planning going on right now for another major event. And I think what you're seeing in the media right now is this obsession on the royal family and Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and everything else that they just use as sort of, a smoke grenade to obscure what is really happening. And you're seeing movements in the $3 billion aid packages and these continued financial packages going to Ukraine, and we're seeing huge arm movements to Ukraine, and we're seeing Ukraine effectively win a digital drone war where a lot of the tanks have become death traps for the Russians invading Ukraine. And it creates a very dangerous situation because Russia is going to eventually retaliate in a major way. And then it's going to bring China into the war, and it's going to be a massive conflict. So that's on the horizon. And there's also a lot of stuff going on with big tech right now. Big tech, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, there was sort of a white flag. And now you're seeing big tech. I mean, what we just experienced was YouTube banning a stream because we were talking about something that they have claimed in their policy is, quote, misinformation. And obviously we don't want to get into that. We don't want to violate any sort of policy.
Well, you know what's funny is the majority of that stream we were talking about other things, right? We were talking about your boy Coburger. We were talking about the New York Post and how they're just basically making up articles at this point to generate clicks. Very irresponsible.
Speaking of the New York Post, have you noticed that it's just getting increasingly radical? It's almost turning into like a tabloid. I mean, like a hardcore tabloid. Obviously, the Post is a tabloid, but more of a hardcore, like National Enquirer level.
Well, it always was. I mean, it's like a step above the Daily Mail, the UK Daily Mail, but it always was with the Page Six and all these sort of hit pieces that they run on people. It's constant, it's continual. But it's never been a respected paper. People only started looking to it as a news source when Trump was in office, and then when they broke the Hunter Biden story. But I mean, look, their top story right now is, if you pull it up, their top three stories are people hate my son's cool, unique name, but I'm not changing it. This woman named her kid Coast. So then we have Biden administration weighs nationwide ban on gas stoves, and then Tennessee cops married female officer fired after repeated wild sex romps. I mean, nothing in this is really legitimate news, particularly for New York. Um, Very bizarre. It's just nothing but a tabloid.
I did read the story about the cop who was a slut on the force, having sex with all these married men, and apparently she was also married. Yeah, so it gets clicks. I mean, you're kind of curious, so you read it and you're like, well, whatever. Not a really important act of journalism by any means.
No,
Uh,
I mean this isn't a legit paper. 98% of the time, all they're doing is publishing stories to generate clicks. I mean, how many times did they publish a story about Scarelli's girlfriend? I
mm-hmm.
mean, it was the same story that they published like every 3 or 4 months, about the reporter who left her husband to go. She was madly in love with Scarelli. It was like every 3 or 4 months they published the same fucking story, and they were just doing it for clicks.
You
They're
think
not
they
a
were writing the same story over with just very brief updates?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they do, and you could tell the these stories on Coburger. I mean, they're pumping out 5, 6, 7 a day, and they keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter. What's funny is the Daily Mail actually had an interesting story and photographs of the dad outside picking up the glass and pictures of the home where they busted in, and
Really?
nothing on the New York Post about it.
I'll try and pull it up. Brian
Hey,
Koberger.
turn the volume up on your mic a little bit.
All right.
Dude, we have almost 300 viewers. If you're out there, make sure to like the stream, tell YouTube that we shouldn't be censored, um, and subscribe to the channel.
Hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. But yeah, so this is the Daily
Yeah,
Mail
better.
article about
Yeah,
Koberger's dad cleaning up whatever was left of this SWAT raid at his house. He's got a shop vac.
almost feel bad for the guy, man. Well, you do feel
Oh,
bad for the
sure,
guy.
for sure. Especially considering you saw him in that traffic stop in Indiana, right? And
Yeah.
I guess some of the commentary that came out of that was that he had mentioned, ironically, a SWAT raid on Washington State's campus about someone who apparently made a threat. So he was saying that it was, quote, horrific. And here he is, his son has been now, at the time he was being investigated for probable cause in the Idaho um, situation. And then he finds out that his son was involved in this. I mean, this must be incredibly traumatic for him.
Well, it's funny too, like that the FBI had no problem sending basically highway patrol to interact with him twice, even though they deny it now, but we know that's bullshit. But they apparently had to engage in a full,
That's true.
blast show of
That's a great
force.
angle. It's a great
I
point.
mean, it's. I mean, I understand. You're kind of going into his element. You don't know what you're gonna encounter, but it is kind of bullshit to do a night raid on this kid, and incredibly dangerous too, if you think about it, for the cops
There's been a
involved.
lot of scrutiny too on these nighttime raids. They have to get additional probable cause before a judge. I don't know what Pennsylvania is like, but a lot of these states, particularly Minnesota, they've increased the level of probable cause, and they've scrutinized these nighttime raids. So I mean, it has to be a hardcore felony for them to even grant the ability for these SWAT teams to go in there. And maybe I mean, I'm not defending Coburger. Maybe it
Dude,
was
he's your boy.
appropriate in his house,
He's your
but
boy, bro.
he's not. Well, not really. I mean, it was probably appropriate, but he's at his parents' house too. Remember this. So, like, this is also incredibly terrifying for his parents to be involved in a situation with 50 SWAT team members, literally a military force, convening on your home and raiding it. And not only raiding it, but leaving it in a complete mess, which you're seeing here. Coburger's dad is using a shop vac to clean the house up or the yard up. Yeah, I mean, this is a video of him doing this. So,
Yo, dude, go back
what
to
is
your
the
mirror
neighbor?
board. Go back to your mirror board. I wanna ask you a question about this FedEps. What does that mean?
Okay, so you sent me this meme about Ray Epps, and to switch directions a little bit to talk about January 6th, considering the fact that January 6th was 3 days ago. And now you're also seeing a lot of symbolism, like a lot of stuff is now released every year on January 6th as sort of like a retaliatory act. And, it's funny too, because that transcript from the January 6th committee came out about Ray Epps, where he admitted that he was an FBI informant and that he had, quote, like started January 6th. I can't remember exactly what the transcript said about what he's, stated, but it was something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And he was talking to his nephew in a series of text messages. We could probably pull it up if we find it, but the FBI basically ordered an insurrection, and they sent in Ray Epps, a 6'7", former special forces operator, retired. I think he's in his 60s or early 70s, to go in there knowing that he was at least trying to, he was kind of acting as, what do they call those?
Instigators.
It was not instigating, but what do you call those guys in bullfights who have the
The matador.
yeah, he was like the matador of January 6th. He was trying to get as many people at those gates as possible and then rush. And he was successful. I mean, maybe he wasn't successful, but maybe the entire operation was successful. But I mean, what if the true conspiracy theory is that like he actually was on Trump's side and he was really interested in doing this just for that purpose, but then when it got out of hand, when his life got impacted in Arizona, then he kind of switched sides and started to get some protection from the New York Times and so forth.
Very possible, man. Very, very possible.
That was never released in the January 6th transcript that they unsealed.
No, I think you're right. I dropped something here in the private chat. You want to check it out?
Yeah, hold on. Let me. Since this is we're kind of testing a new situation here out. Let me switch. How do I do this? I am going to.
Dude, we have 914 viewers right now. Remember to like and subscribe. We're being heavily censored by YouTube.
If you're out there, please do subscribe to the channel and like the video. Let me try and figure out. So we're kind of dealing with the new setup here. So just give me a second. Let me pull this up. Let me copy this. See if we can maybe pull up some of these post stories here. This.
So,
There we go.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Pull this up. All right. What is this?
Dude, just put it up there in all its glory right there, man. Give YouTube the middle finger.
Well, we can't. I really don't want to get a strike on the channel, so let's be really careful about what we talk about.
I dropped another one in there.
Again, this is complete. The hashtag would be SADS, suddenly died. So it's not, again, I don't want to invoke the censors from YouTube here.
Dude, we got somebody spamming the chat right now.
Okay, so this is a tweet from Chad Pergram.
He's a Fox News guy.
He's a Fox News correspondent, correct. He's constantly on there chirping up about shit. McCarthy on booting Dems from committees. Swalwell can't get security clearance in the private sector. I'm not going to give him a government security clearance. Schiff has lied too many times to the American public. He should not be on Intel. Well, I mean, that's stating the obvious. Why is Schiff still on the Intelligence Committee?
No idea, man. It's going to be interesting to see if McCarthy has any backbone and sticks to some of these pledges that he made to conduct these investigations into Biden, Hunter Biden, to boot some of these fucking totally corrupt Democrats off the committees. It's going to be, it's going to be wild.
It's a real test for McCarthy. It's a test for, but again, there's no trust in McCarthy because he's already bought and he's got so many special interests that own him. And, we showed that one image of him at the World Economic Forum with Elaine Chao, former education or transportation secretary, I always forget which, married to Cocaine Mitch McConnell. And so and then you wonder about sort of, I guess this right-wing group that opposed his speakership that was kind of led, at least what the media boasts, is that it was led by Matt Gaetz. And then you had that fist fight between Mike Rogers and Matt Gaetz, and now Matt Gaetz coming out today saying that he forgives Mike Rogers. I don't think this fracture will ever be forgiven. In fact, I think that there is a real fracture, and you're seeing it right now. And I think that you're almost seeing a pulling apart into more of a libertarian section of the Republican Party. Because to be honest with you, I think most of the Republicans right now are rhinos. Yep. And they're just Democrats in disguise.
It's the uniparty, man. It's the uniparty.
Yeah, and the 2 years that we have here, if they don't file articles of impeachment against Mayorkas, Biden, and bring up an investigation into Hunter Biden's dealings in Ukraine, including some of this other crazy stuff that we're seeing, not only on the border, but just in general in the dysfunction in the federal government. We're seeing it in the energy department. We're seeing it in some of these other appointments where people are not getting vetted properly. And then we're seeing like this, expansion of the deep state. And what we're being told now is that the federal government, at least, has been stifling our speech for at least the last 4 years. And it's pretty terrifying. It's scary because that is literally the most sacrosanct principle we have in our Constitution is our freedom of speech. When you're attacked, when you're imprisoned, when you're under tyrannical control, the only thing you have left is your speech. You have no right to bear arms. You have no right to resist physical force when the government comes in. The only thing you can do is complain and file grievances and, speak out and expose corruption, lay siege to a tyrannical government that is trying to, dominate your life and really destroy any opposition. So when that's under attack, which it is, it's terrifying. And it's really interesting to see if it's going to be 2 years here with McCarthy and in the speakership that we actually see some of this happen, or it's just McCarthy saying that that's going to happen in the mainstream media and then nothing actually happens. There's no, as you say, Agent X, there's no teeth behind this.
Nope. That's exactly right. They already agreed to a rules package that basically neutered McCarthy. They can get rid of him with what a caucus of five, or I guess 5 members of the conference, Republican conference. So it has no teeth. I think we're going to see 2 years of nothing, particularly with the presidential campaign. It's going to start ramping up over the summer, and that's going to be a major distraction. You're going to see Trump 24/7 on CNN, and it's going to distract from the major issues that are really
Well,
going on.
I mean, if you were a congressman and you saw Kevin McCarthy destroy the speakership in order to save it so that he could be propelled into that role, would you have any respect for him whatsoever?
No, no, and I don't have any respect for any of the Republicans who were like Hannity and Newt Gingrich and Marjorie Taylor Greene, all these losers who are going around, you know, basically begging for these conservative Republicans to vote and stop the stalemate. It was terrible to see. Hey, dude, I got a link for you to see. You're gonna love this, bro. You're gonna love this. We got to
Oh
have a
boy.
little humor on the stream, right?
It's too bad we don't have Amjaz calling in.
Yeah, he's your boy, man.
Pulling it up. Oh my God. This definitely needs to be seen. Love it.
He was inspired by Iron Man, bro.
He probably
I
had to
think
beg
that,
borrow steel to
I
get
think,
all that equipment.
dude, I think that was. I think this is Amjaz right here.
Very well could be.
Oh man,
Well, it gives
dude.
you a lot of confidence in the Indian military.
Yeah, it does, bro. So yeah, man. What else you have on your mural board?
Let's put it out. Let me switch over there. I actually wanted to talk to you about some of this quantum stuff.
No, no quantum stuff. No quantum stuff, bro. My
Your
head
mind is
hurts too
blown?
much.
Yeah, mine too. Okay, so we have this youth. No, it's not a youth player. It's a college basketball player, D1 too.
Oh yeah, man.
Play
And you know
that.
what's so they start off this story with
Can
talking
you see
about
this, by the way?
Yeah, we can see it. So they start off this, and this is local news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about Damar Hamlin, but watch what it sort of, you can play it. Watch what it goes into.
Let me know if you can hear the audio or not.
Stats. They've all been
Yep.
secondary this week, and all because of the focus, rightfully so, has been the past week around the health of Bill's safety, Damar Hamlin, who collapsed during Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals and later sent to the hospital after experiencing cardiac arrest. Thankfully, his condition has been improving every day. As a matter of fact, he put out a statement on Instagram today thanking the fans for their support. This afternoon, a scary and similar situation seemed to hit a little closer to home regarding the Old Dominion men's basketball team in their game at Georgia Southern today. Now, keep in mind, this video we're about to show you may be hard to watch. First half of their game today. Keep your eyes on number 3, right side of your screen. That's Emo Esian, sophomore guard, stops, then slowly goes down to the ground. Players from both teams visibly upset after watching. Take a look. Number of ODU players were seen crying, looking on, and hoping their teammate was okay. Thankfully, trainers from both schools were able to get Emo back on his feet. He was evaluated, responded.
All right, so he was able to get back up, but still, I mean, he's what, 20
I
years
think
old.
they evaluated him later, and they determined he had a heart attack. They didn't put it in the news report, but it's funny. There were tons of YouTube videos about this morning, and now when you search for it, there's this and another video. So YouTube is censoring this really hard.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and you can see the visceral reaction from all the other players on the Old Dominion team when this happens. It's like they know the cause of this, or at least they have some idea of what it might be. And you're also seeing Damar Hamlin as kind of the anchor to talk about all the other cases where this might be happening, the sudden adult death syndrome. And if anything, if you want to prop Damar Hamlin up as someone who could be, a leader, or, adding some heroification to Damar Hamlin, it would be that it is allowing all these other cases to be illustrated, even in the local news, which is hugely important. And, particularly in these minority communities, basketball, Black community, I mean, it seems like, a lot of people are empathetic to what's going on. So not to babble on about it, but it's really, I mean, what do you do? I mean, if you're that basketball player, what do you do? Do you continue to play? Do you quit? I mean, like, what are your options?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's scarier and scarier. I don't even know what you do.
I mean, do you think Damar Hamlin will ever play NFL football again? And do you think this is going to have some sort of impact on the popularity of NFL football now that you're seeing this? Because they did create kind of this situation by what they've done in the past 2 to 3 years. And, I mean, do people really want to see that on television? They want to see people collapsing? I
Yeah,
don't.
I don't know, man. It was more of a thing over in Europe for the soccer players, and we're just now
Yep.
starting to see it here.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know really what the solution is, other than
There's
if
got to be
this
data
continues,
out
it's
there.
going to be harder and harder to watch live sporting events.
I think people are going to realize that, like, what is a priority in their life? Watching leagues that have effectively caused situations like this because they've been aligned with some of the government actions that have, created the conditions more favorable for things like this to happen. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get a strike on your channel, Agent X, but if
Fun.
anything, I think that there's a ton more of these cases that have just not been.
No, it's been the media is definitely suppressing it, right? Just like I said, it went from there were probably at least a dozen videos of this ODU player, and now there's two on YouTube. That's it.
Mhm.
And you got to remember, like, live sports is basically viewership in television is like just flatlined, and the only thing really generating eyeballs is live sports. And are people really going to want to, if this becomes a steady trend, are people really going to want to tune in to watch these players collapse on the field? No, they're not. And it's going to hurt, advertising. It's going to hurt the revenue for these sports leagues. It's going to be a mess.
You notice too in the Damar Hamlin situation that they haven't released. Well, of course it's protected by HIPAA and his consent on releasing this information, but at least Damar Hamlin himself has not released some of the results of the medical tests that he has experienced. And if the NFL is obligated to, for example, release some of that information in the injury report or put him on the injured reserve list, I believe that they're obligated under the rules in the collective bargaining agreement to at least release a vague diagnosis of what his injury is. So that gets into the minutia of what that would be. But I'm assuming that some of this data will leak out, and he will actually address the substance of what happened on the field and what the cause was. And I think that's going to be another sort of stepping stone in this process to at least push back on big tech, preventing big tech from suppressing some of these stories. And it's also going to put some pressure on these leagues.
No, I agree, man. Particularly like when you start to see the viewership drop, that's what's really gonna put
True.
put pressure on the leagues. So I don't know.
You sure you don't want to go over this wormhole story?
Nah, I can't even think about that stuff tonight, man. I'm so burned out on quantum. Super burned out. Just burned out in general.
Yeah, everybody is. We got a couple of days coming up, though. We got Martin Luther King Day coming up. So,
yeah, dude, it'd be good to get at least a day of reprieve coming up here. So, after the holidays, you know, nothing to worry about.
hey, let me ask you this question. What did you ever find out what happened to that guy who was arrested?
What guy was arrested?
Yesterday, I think we played a clip of that guy being arrested.
I don't know. I didn't see anything about it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about it.
We'll have to dig on that one.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up tomorrow before we stream. But dude, I got to get to bed. Got to get rolling early in the morning. Do you want to shut it down?
Yeah, before we shut it down, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, and please do like our stream and subscribe to the channel if you can, and we'll certainly be back as soon as we are able to get on the other channels when our strike, I believe it's a week, goes away. So yeah, that's it, and I hope everybody has a great week.
Yep, same here. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and stay safe out there.